back, everybody, to another episode of Candidly with Coffee.
We back, just
we
like
are
that.
Back. Yes, we are back. Thank you for my coffee.
You're welcome.
What kind of coffee is this? Cheers.
Which one? Yours?
Yeah, what pod?
Caramel, with a vanilla caramel one.
Yum, that's good. Black coffee with just a dollop of whipped cream.
Just a dollop of whipped cream.
That's my favorite, just a dollop. We have changed our setting a little bit here. For those of you on YouTube, you can see it. I'm trying to work through what setup I like for when we move into a dedicated podcasting room.
Yeah.
I'm getting closer.
Getting closer.
I'm getting closer. And I'm getting farther away from the camera, farther away from you, because
Yes.
I felt like you're just like on top of me before.
Yeah.
I think we're getting closer, guys, but thank you so much for tuning in. So much support lately. Our downloads have definitely increased.
Yes, thank you guys.
And we're just super excited because we have a lot of really cool things planned, not only for the podcast, but just our offering to you guys in general. So
it's coming.
It's coming. Lots of cool and exciting things.
The level up is coming.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, it's coming in a cool way. Like I hate people who tease stuff, but you know, it is what it is. I'm teasing.
Teasing.
Yeah. It is a stormy, ugly day.
Yeah. No blue skies today.
Why is it always my busiest days, the days I have to leave the house, the days I have my double workout day? Why is it always like that? A stormy day.
Murphy's Law.
God.
It just be like that. When it rains, it pours. That's all. It's just keeping us.
Literally, when it rains, it pours.
It's keeping us humble. That's why.
It's so. I mean, it was the storming this morning when I left, and I still have another workout later. And
just goes to show you, it's one thing we would never be able to control is Mother Nature. She comes when she wants to come, and that's that. You just deal with it. She comes on her terms, and that's that. There's nothing you can do about it. If it rains, oh well.
I swear.
Guess what though? When you're in the gym or you're at your studio working out at Orange Theory, it's not raining in there. You're working out, correct?
I had a great workout, actually.
Me too.
I had a great workout. Let me tell you this. I felt strong. Like, I feel strong. I'm so glad that...
And which way you feel strong?
Well, my fitness has been so consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And even when, like, during the holidays, on some of the weekends and stuff, I definitely ate more calories. I definitely ate a surplus at times in calories and not at maintenance.
Same here.
But the consistency of my fitness
Yes.
allowed those calories to be put to good use.
I bet.
Because I feel stronger.
The excess calories, you feel it. You're utilizing them.
Years ago, my old habits were, if I wasn't eating on point, I wasn't working out. It's like the first thing that I would say, like, well, I'm off track right now, so why am I going to bother with workouts? When you're eating more, that is when you
ramp it up.
In the gym.
Ramp it up.
Do not scale back.
No.
Use the calories. Get the gains out of it. I know I'm getting muscle gains out of it. I feel stronger. I'm picking up heavier dumbbells.
You picked up this table. No problem.
Right.
You didn't even flinch.
Yeah, no, I feel strong.
Oh, babe, I need a man to help me. You handled it. Just saying. You just handled it. You didn't you did it.
I know, and I feel strong.
Your core is strong, your legs are strong, everything's strong. It's good.
Oh, that's one thing for sure. My core this past year has significantly improved. So it's nice. It's nice to have like tangible results, and I feel good in terms of that. I just started a deficit, like a slight deficit. So I do, some days I'm in a deficit, some days I get maintenance. I'm kind of flip-flopping on right now, and then I'll ramp it up, have more deficit days in January. But even with a deficit, I feel strong. Like today I felt really strong in class.
That's good.
How do you feel?
Yeah, we ate a lot. I felt good, strong. I did crazy workout this morning too, and I didn't eat no food. I just went coffee and straight there. Because I don't really get hungry till about 10 a.m. So there's no point. You gotta
go with how you feel.
So what I do, I just do a shot of honey.
Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a tip for you guys, by the way. If you want to have a little burst of energy before your workout, aim for, you need fast digesting carbs, like sugar, something sugary, not fats. Fats will slow you down. Fats will make you feel sluggish in your workout.
It will.
So
sometimes make you want to throw up too.
Yeah, you want it. You want to have the sugar
quick
or the carbs, but a fast digesting carb. You know, have some fruit with some honey. You know, a bowl of strawberries with a drizzle of honey on it or something would be good.
Yep.
Sometimes I have a Rice Krispies treat It's 90 calories. It's like a lot of sugar, and it's gonna give you quick energy.
So
Fats don't.
So you don't tank out during your workout.
Yeah.
There's times you'll be having a good workout, all of a sudden, boom, you hit a wall.
Yeah.
And then you don't know why. And you're like, damn, I didn't eat enough.
It's like, dang, my
Yeah.
energy stores are low, and so they just emptied. And now, if you have fat, think, oh great, that's a great opportunity to burn fat. Not really, because your body cannot quickly convert fat into energy.
Facts.
It is a slow process.
Yes.
That's why, have you ever heard of the fat burning zone with your heart rate? It's a slow walk, or like a leisurely, because you don't need energy as quickly. You don't need as much energy. So your body has time to kind of like, let's make some energy out of the fat. It's not a quick process. So if you are elevating your heart rate, your body needs carbohydrates for energy. It needs to have energy in the glycogen storage tank to use. If that empties out, you're going to gas out. You literally cannot go anymore. That's what's going to happen there.
Yes.
So
I could have done 2 hours today, honestly. If it wasn't for this.
Yesterday, I left for my workout, and I was supposed to be home after you. You were gone still when I got home. You were gone forever. I'm like, this guy is insane. You're insane. You and Alyssa's like that too. You guys get in this zone in the gym, and you could be there for 2 to 3 hours. Easy. I am not that person. Nope.
Because I started with Stairmaster, 10 minutes today. Speed rope, not slow. Speed rope, jumping, 10 minutes, I'm drenched. Then burpees to jumping up to platform, and then to pull up. So I did a lot of body conditioning today, my own body weight work.
That is like what athletes do.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to do.
Strength
explosive.
And conditioning.
Get my core strong too.
Yeah.
My explosiveness.
That's good. That's good exercise. And athletes in like their off season, that's their focus: strength and conditioning.
Yes.
So what people don't know is an athlete, typically like a basketball player or whatever, they don't want to put on tons of muscle.
Negative.
Muscle actually slows you down.
Yes, it does. Fighters too. Not too much muscle. It's a fine line. Some muscle, but not too much. It'll slow you down.
Yeah, like the more muscle you have, you're not really. You don't have a lot of speed and agility if you're like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
You know, it's more aesthetics.
Yes.
The muscle's not really functional.
And they can't, bodybuilders are so wound up so tight, and I was one of them. I was in that scene that when they throw a punch, it looks awkward. They look like big gorillas, and they look so stiff and tight. It took me years to break out of that shell. Now I'm loosening all up. I'm loose now.
Actually,
feel better.
The coach I had today at Orange Theory, it's Coach Jared. I think he does martial arts also.
Yeah.
But
nice.
He says little things during the workout that are very helpful. Just little snippets. He'll be like, right now, you guys are probably tightening up. You're hunched over. You're trying to get through the rest of this run.
Yes.
Loosen up. Drop your shoulders.
Drop your shoulders, yes.
And he'll say little tips, and I do it, and it helps. I'm like, wow, that really just helped, because especially if you're exerting, you're getting through that we'd had a long endurance run. And he's like, you're tightening up. Like, if you feel yourself, like, make sure you drop your shoulders loose. Like, don't crunch your hands tight. Pretend you're holding like a bag of potato chips.
Martial arts. We said in fighting,
don't
you never clench our fists because now you just tense your whole body.
Yep.
So relax.
Yeah.
So the lever wants to come out loose and relax, and then you close your fists at the end. It's hard to learn, but once you learn to throw a punch, the mechanics behind it, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like little things like that. Like today, I'm like, wow, that really helped. I was like, my shoulders were like lifting up, and when he told me that, I dropped my shoulders, and just the motion was so much more fluid.
Right.
It just goes to show you.
It felt natural, right? Like this is the way it's supposed to feel. That's the best feeling. And also another tip I'm gonna give you when you're running. You were kind of making fun of that video I was watching. The guy says glide on your feet, be light. When you're running, you shouldn't be stomping. You should be light, like gliding. With the treadmill.
Well, let's clear it up for the listeners, because sometimes he's out in the living room and watching the most random ass YouTube videos, and we have a 85-inch TV, and he's watching these like random ass.
Well, I was watching a guy I was watching how he shadow box, how he jump rope. I did calisthenics, and the same thing. He said you're like floating on your feet, light on your feet. I'm like, that's good. I've been doing that, but that's good to hear from someone else.
Yeah, and I was like, what are you watching? He's like, I'm just trying to improve my craft.
Get better at what I'm doing. Yes, I'll be 48 next month, and I'm still getting better. When people say, "Oh, I'm this age, this is just the way it's gonna be," nah, BS. I call bullshit. Sorry, that's you just tapping out in your mind. You can get better. We're always learning. It's actually called neuroplasticity. plasticity?
Plasticity? Yeah, it's like a tongue twister.
Well, your brain can still learn. You're still learning new things.
Yes, that is the ability for our brain to continue to learn.
Yes.
Even as you get older.
Yes,
so
you can learn.
Let yourself say, "Oh, I'm too old for this," or "I'm too old for that."
I can't get a degree. But yes, there was a lady. It went national. The news. She was in her 80s. She got her like a doctorate or master's. She did it in her 70s and got her degree by 80.
Yeah, but what's true though is if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yes.
So if you continuously learn, like I've made it a goal for myself this year, like I'm going to improve my craft. I'm going to learn some more specialized things that you guys are going to benefit for as our listeners, as our viewers. You're going to benefit from, because I've made it a point to like hone my craft even more.
Yes.
To learn more, to get the latest and greatest data and techniques and things like that. And the more I use my brain, I feel it starting to fire.
Yeah.
Like I feel it firing on more levels. And while we're doing pretty good, like for our age in terms of like our fitness and things like that. So obviously I have a lot of fitness goals, but I'll be transparent with you guys. I have a lot of like financial and business goals for myself this year too, because I feel like that's where I've held myself back, and I could improve there financially and business wise and things like that. Like, so a lot of my personal goals are related to that as well.
And you know what helps conquer those goals? What people don't realize is your level of discipline. Getting up in the morning, getting ready. You're tired, but you're going to go hit that workout. That's all discipline, because that's going to push you into bettering your business and leveling up.
Yeah,
it all goes together. They just for fucking physical. It's mental too, and when your mental levels up, everything in life levels up. That's the way it goes.
Yeah. I just feel like
time.
There's been times where I have to tell myself though too, because I find myself saying like, man, is it too late to like fix these things or to get on a better trajectory with finances and things like that, because I'm already in my 40s. No, it's not too late.
No.
It is absolutely not too late. Don't let yourself do that. I have to tell myself that. I've had those conversations with myself lately. Like, no, it's not too late. You're making changes now that are going to, work towards that. I just want you guys to not think that just because we're on here and we preach about a lot of these things that we've got it all figured out, that we've already succeeded, and so therefore we're teaching you how to succeed. We're kind of teaching you as we go too.
Yes.
We are a work in progress, believe me. As most people are on social media, do not let people make you believe that they've got it all figured out and that their life is now perfect, and so they're going to teach you how to have a perfect life.
That's sales tactics a lot of times. They create this facade, and they want you to believe they're ultra super successful. They'll go as far as renting an exotic car, driving around, take videos, just to show people. I get that level. You want people to perceive you are a certain way, but you're not really that way.
I know, but at what point is that like fake it till you make it, or just being a complete phony baloney?
Yeah, I know. And there's a lot of phony balonies getting exposed these days, which I love.
And I love it.
Me too.
I love
they need to.
That's why
more fitness coaches, more everything in the industry.
Well, that's why I want to make it a point to say that just because we're on here preaching about how to be successful and all those things, we are a work in progress ourselves.
We are. Yes, we are.
But I feel like we do practice what we preach though.
Yes, we do.
And, I feel like last year for me was a little bit of a moratorium year, just because I wasn't clear on my goals. I was trying to survive, to be honest.
Yeah. We took a lot of personal hits.
But on that token, I'm trying to get myself in a mindset to where I can still work on my goals, still keep pushing forward despite life's trials and tribulations, because they will never go away. Never.
Remember that, people, never. So don't always think like, well, I'm going to start working out when this happens or this person passes away. No, do it now.
I'm going to do it after. Yeah. Once this is over. Once that's over. Once my kids start school. Yeah. Don't do that.
No.
You actually need to learn how to keep pushing forward despite the problems. And that's what 2022 taught me.
Yep.
2022 taught me that even though it'll get harder at times or whatever, you have to keep pushing forward. You got to dust yourself off and keep functioning and life doesn't stop because your mom died or your dogs died.
Yes. True. It doesn't.
It doesn't.
I wish we could stop the clock and mourn everybody. It doesn't work that way.
I wish especially for like an entrepreneur, because I don't have my sister, like, she's like, oh, I'm going to take a month off. Like, well, that's nice. I can't do that.
Yeah.
You know?
When you work for a corporation, you could do that.
So I learned that despite tough times, you can move forward, because even though I think that I just said it, right, that 2022 was kind of like a moratorium year, it wasn't really. I actually exceeded in a lot of levels. I jumped a lot of levels in my business and a lot of things in my fitness, a lot of things. Despite that, it felt like it was a fog.
Yeah.
And like I didn't accomplish a lot, but really in hindsight I actually did accomplish a lot. But I intend to accomplish even more this year, despite trials and tribulations. I am the primary caregiver for my father who's ill, whose illness isn't getting better. Nope. It's only going to progress this year and be, I have some tough times ahead. But I'm setting myself up in a way mentally that I can persevere regardless. I can still push through and make it, still live my life and do all of the things.
And that's why it's important to keep your mentals very, very strong. So when you do encounter these inconveniences in life, these painful things we're all going to go through, your mental health is strong to push you through, to keep you going. Because let me tell you, when you have to deal with death and it's a parent, you want to go with them. I'm not going to lie, my mom died, I'm like, I want to go with you, Mom. I don't want to be here. I was crushed. But you got to keep moving. That's unrealistic. That's not what our parents would want.
It's always that guy. Sorry, guys, we had a little interruption.
Yeah.
Anyways, so when you are feeling those barriers or feeling like you're telling yourself, oh, when this happens, then I'll do this, stop yourself. Because Tim Robbins, actually, I was listening to a podcast where Tim Robbins talked about if you're waiting for there to be the perfect time or there not to be any problems, you're going to be waiting forever. Yep. Life includes problems.
Yes, it does.
And problems and tragedy and situations is actually when we grow.
Yep. And you learn about yourself.
Yeah.
What you're made
growth comes from those problems. You learn like to pivot, or you learn to step up to the plate. A lot of times,
yes.
I've used that mentality for a long time. But even sometimes you'll tell me, like, I'll be giving advice to, like, my son or something, and you'll say, like, do you think he's ready for that? And I'll say, like, no. But you sometimes have to do things before you're ready.
You have to rise to the occasion.
Because you will rise to the occasion. Yes. It's the same advice I gave to my sister when she was contemplating taking a job that now was the best decision of her life. She had come to me because at the time the job was less income. And she's like, I'm not sure if I can make it happen. Like, what do you think? And I said, this is the right move for you, and your life will adjust accordingly. You will rise to the occasion. You won't even feel it. I promise you. Fast forward, I think it's been, 7 years later? 7 years later, I think now. Best decision she ever made.
Yep.
Best decision she ever made.
Facts.
So remember that for yourself, too, and I have to remember this for myself, too. Don't always wait until you're ready, or don't ever wait till you're ready, actually.
No, you'll never be ready.
You'll never be ready.
Trust me.
But
I'm guilty of that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Everybody, every single one of us is guilty. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we are.
Every single person.
I'm guilty too, even though I give that advice. I have to remember to, like you said, look in the mirror, point the finger. The 3 fingers are pointing back at you.
Yes.
Like, pointing at you. It's
one finger's pointing at the world and the people, and 3 are pointing back at you. I'm just saying. That was a good, I like that how someone said that. I was like, damn.
I love that. It's so true.
Because I thought they're the problem. She goes, I'm the problem. She admitted I'm the problem. My marriage failed because of me. And every time I pointed the finger, she said, 3 are pointing back at me. I was like, damn, I never looked at it that way.
For sure.
Interesting.
Okay, so we're moving on. To our hot coffee segment. It's a fun one. I think it's a fun one.
There we go.
Fun little segment. If you guys are OG listeners, back in the summer, over the summer, we talked about how we were heavily pursued for a show.
Yes.
Heavily pursued.
Heavily.
And they needed us to fly out like the following week. Like it was happening. They were shooting in July. We had like 1 week notice, but we decided not to do it because I didn't like the premise of the show.
No.
The premise of the show was couples that have been together for a while, like in their 40s.
Older couples.
That, to see if the grass was greener. To try to pair them up with people that are younger, and to see if the grass is greener on the other side, if they find somebody that, like, is younger, wants to do what they want to do, or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? This casting agent was like, oh, but don't worry, you guys are super solid, but you'll make for a good show. But you don't worry, like, your marriage is fine, like...
You know what's funny? I'm going to stop you right there. How the hell she know our marriage is fine or we're super solid? You barely know us.
I know, but she had stalked our social media, but she was trying to sell us, for sure.
Trying to sell us.
Well, anyways, the show premiered. The show is out.
It was real. I wasn't sure if it was...
Yeah, the show is out.
Fake news or not, it was real.
It was not fake news. And to be honest, when we were talking with her, they were looking for 4 couples, and they needed us to fly out that following week. The show only has 3 couples.
Yes, because we were saying they should have more couples.
We're couple number 4.
We wouldn't believe this, guys. If I'm telling you, it's kind of crazy to know that we could have been on that show. Honestly, like we didn't stop to think about it. We could have been.
So the show is called Love for the Ages. It's on Peacock. We started watching it. I'm gonna watch it. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, we'll keep watching it. See what happens.
And it is. And I remember, for whatever reason, they wanted it to be like mixed race couples or Latino, heavily Latino. Because they had Adrian Bailon as the host, and so they're all, at least one of everyone in the couple is Spanish speaking and Latin.
Yep.
And that's what I remember saying, but I don't speak Spanish. She goes, it's okay, your husband speaks Spanish, but you don't need to speak Spanish, but we're looking for enough. Like of Latino descent.
Yeah.
But you could definitely tell when you look, like, oh yeah, like we are exactly fitting what they were looking for. Like, they're older couples, they've been together like 10 plus years.
Yeah.
And they're in their late 40s. Good looking couples.
Some of them are at a crossroads.
And they're kind of at a crossroads, but a lot of times I think they had to create the crossroads to be on the show. Because for us, we aren't at a crossroads, but they would have built on it. Because what they would have done is they would have interviewed me and said, like, what is it that, he does that drives you crazy? What do you wish he didn't do? And vice versa. And then they would have played on that.
Yep.
So the show is all about, like, and it's on Peacock, by the way, and so it is it's not rated. There's language, sexual content, so it is, like, going to be explicit. At the beginning, too. Oh, yeah, but I could tell from the previews that it's going to be, like...
When alcohol flows, we want to see who breaks.
So the premise is they get these couples into a house in Malibu. I remember she was telling us, it'll be like a vacation.
Yeah.
You're going to be on a beautiful house in Malibu. 2 homes in Malibu. The men go to one home. The women go to another, and they fill each home with the opposite sex, half their age. Very sexual, very temptation-driven, for a month.
Yeah.
That's
and the average age of these people are like 21 or like 26, 27.
Yeah, the singles are in their 20s.
Yes, 20s.
Man, here's my take. First of all, let me just say that Tyler walked in when we were watching it. My son, by the way. He looked and he was like, Mom, if you would have been on this show, I would have been talking to you for a long time. That kind of was a little stab in my heart.
He didn't want to say his mom.
I'm like, if I would have done this show, you wouldn't be talking to me right now. He's like, absolutely not. I have a really hard time with this. I was like, whoa. What do I always tell you? What stops me in life, what keeps me a little more conservative, because I'm not really a conservative person, to be honest, is my
big ass flirt, y'all.
Is my kids. Not you. It's my kids.
Yeah.
Tyler specifically.
I know.
Alyssa not so much, but Tyler is like a father figure.
He is.
And
Your son be
a
cracking
husband
the whip.
figure and a son figure wrapped up into one. If I'm ever contemplating whether I should do something or not, and I feel like it's on the air on the side of a little bit, maybe a little risque or something, I think of him.
Yeah.
Because you know what it is? What about, like, I did think of him when we were contemplating for a second doing the show. Because let's be real, you guys. If we would have done the show, right now, we'd be on a podcast tour. Doing a bunch of podcasts.
Yes, we would.
We would get so much exposure.
It would have blew our business up.
This podcast. We would get so much exposure for our fitness business and our transformations and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I've built this following with no exposure.
None.
None.
No paid ads, no paid advertisement, no nothing.
None. No special,
Scratch.
no show. I've never been featured on a show or anything like that.
We have no fame, nothing. We're just regular people.
So it's frustrating sometimes. I am looking for that opportunity to reach more people. And
yes.
And if it wasn't such a risque premise, I would have considered it.
Yeah.
But
Me
deep
too.
down, I thought, I'm not willing to risk my marriage.
Me too.
Here's the thing, and what she was trying to convince us at, and what, some people will think is if you're so solid, then you guys could have gone into it, got the exposure, and just been solid, through it. While I don't worry about myself and would I have been tempted or whatever, I still think that it is not a good idea to put yourself in a position of temptation as somebody who's married.
Don't play with fire, basically.
Yes.
Don't mess around.
Because you could get burned.
You could.
And I'm not willing to risk that. Because while maybe we would have been fine after filming, right now, we'd be watching ourselves. And every little thing. Every little, in this show, I said, it's a Peacock show.
And look, right now, we're recording, right? This podcast.
Yeah.
We sometimes forget the camera's on us. So guess what? Those people don't record very often. So they're going to forget they get recording. And they're recording everything and they're zooming in on things.
Not only that, babe, they're editing things to look a certain way.
Yes.
They're editing things. Lots of alcohol.
Lots. That's where the danger is going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't care what anyone says.
Because you're going to film, for me, I would have had to be careful with my alcohol intake. Because I know myself. I have always kept myself on track with my alcohol. When I drink a little too much, everything's a good idea. Everything's a good idea. At least you can admit that. I am like that. I know I'm like that.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Not that I would.
No.
I'm worried about myself, but would I maybe do some things that I was like, ooh, maybe I wish I didn't do that. A little too flirty.
I might have flirted a little bit. Yeah. Yes.
And
I don't think I crossed the line because I respect and cherish our marriage, and I feel like we are solid.
Yeah. No, I know.
There's nothing I'm looking for in life. I'm not looking for a woman half my age. That's not my forte.
Right. But I would have to keep tabs on my alcohol intake, but they're going to make it flow. And here's the thing. I would want to take a little alcohol to help me film. So it's finding that fine line and then worrying a little bit, watching it back oh, I hope I didn't say or do anything that's going to look bad.
Yes.
That's going to look worse than it was, especially the way they're going to edit it together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they would have loved, to be honest, I think we would make good TV. Because when I'm seeing them interview, the way, because as much as we get along, we could easily start in on each other if we start, we recently did, the icks. We kept going. It's fun.
The icks.
Fun poking. And I think it would make good TV, especially when you kind of get riled up.
Yeah.
But I just wouldn't want to put us in that position.
No, I don't blame you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we'd be in a...
I don't care if they offered us $100,000. I'm not to risk our marriage. That's a chunk of change. I know they were offering some money, but at the end of the day, I tell you, it's not real.
It wasn't even the money. To me, it's the exposure, though.
Exposure, yes.
And the ability to then... People would want you on their podcast. That's the best way to promote a podcast is to go on other popular podcasts.
Yep.
And we could do that, and man, that would be good. But too bad. The show was just a little too much. Maybe another opportunity will come our way.
Maybe. Never know.
That's not so. Yeah, that one, and we just started watching it, you guys, and I could tell it's gonna get.
I didn't even ask this chick how she found us.
Social media. Because it was right at the same time that we started the Candidly with Coffee Instagram. And we started posting all of those relatable humor videos.
Yes.
And they get a lot of traction. We have several that are over 1 million. And so, we have one that's 7 million, another one that's almost 7 million, and then...
Crazy.
Some that are close to 1 million. So there's a lot of exposure there. And that's how she found us.
Wow.
And that's, if you ask people who have been on reality shows, how did you get cast? It's always Instagram. Instagram DM. That's how they find people. Because they can stalk your Instagram.
Hit me up Instagram.
Yeah. They stalk your Instagram for a while. They watch, they see your interaction, they go to each other's, they get to see what you look like, how you talk in front of a camera. A lot of that. It's a really good way to cast people. But anyways, I'm not when we turned it down, I thought to myself, man, I hope we don't regret that decision when it comes out. Like, man, these people blew up or whatever. But now that I see the show and how raunchy it is, nope. I am absolutely not, especially after Tyler made that comment.
She's a salesperson, man. They just tell you what you want to hear and downplay it, but we know. Listen, we're not rookies. We're fucking pros.
This one time when we went to Vegas, we were at Vegas, the cocktail waitress, I looked up and she was touching your face. You said, like, you were talking to her or whatever. Mind you, you were always a little flirty with the cocktail waitresses, but again, you're in that environment. That's just what it is. You're drinking, you're having a good time. Loose. No harm, no foul for the most part. However, where I draw the line is touching.
Yeah.
And you guys were talking about, like, ages, like how old she thought you were or whatever, and she grabbed your face and turned it to her. Oh. And I was like, what the fuck is this bitch grabbing your face for? Like, oh, hell no.
No. I know. That's
I don't
not
like
good.
that.
Yeah,
that's a no.
No. You don't even grab my face.
No. That's like, touching is like a different ball game.
Yeah.
But
I'm guilty.
Yeah.
I was flirty.
Yeah.
Again, your inhibitions, you're loose. Sorry, but alcohol, you're loose. I'm sorry. You know?
Yeah. And that's what they're doing. They're getting these people liquored up. They are staying in a really beautiful home, though. Beautiful homes in Malibu.
And these girls and men are gonna come for these older folks.
Yeah.
Cougars and cougars.
You could already tell.
Yes.
Here's the thing that's scary to me. That's a long time. And I think it's 2 weeks separated, and I think they come together. They come back together for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But you can form deep connections with people in that amount of time. Mm-hmm. You know? And if you're bored, you've got nothing else going on, you're forming connections. I think they're going to, it's not to say that they didn't have a good connection with their spouse, but do I think they'll form connections? Yeah, I do. I think you have to.
It's just natural human interaction. It happens. You don't mean to. Before you know it, you're talking, and you're talking for days on end, then a week, then 2. That's way more than enough time to form a connection.
Yeah, and that's why I do believe that while if you could have a solid foundation, a solid marriage, I don't sit here and tell you it is impossible. Like, it is impossible. It would never happen. Don't say that.
How many times has that been said? Right.
And I don't want to say that so that it's memorialized on a podcast and then someone goes, oh, look. But you can't say that. You have to protect your connection. It's not just like, oh, we have a connection, so we're good. We're going to be good forever. You have to protect it.
You can't let someone else come in and get that connection with your spouse.
Yeah.
Boyfriend, girlfriend,
spouse,
fiance.
That's why you have to be...
dangerous.
You have
Especially
to be
the opposite
cautious
sex.
About forming relationships with other people and...
Yeah.
Keeping boundaries is really important because it's not as hard as it may seem. And then you're good, while you're good, but if you have formed like deep connections with somebody else and then you have a little crack that happens in your foundation, as it happens time to time with marriages, something will happen, or like a bad month. You just have a bad month. You had a couple of bad arguments, life is happening, and you've maybe, not had the best month, and then somebody else creeps in, like a captain. What do you call them? Captains.
Capitans.
Captain Save-A-Ho.
It goes in both directions.
Yeah, both directions.
It's not just men.
No.
It's women
both.
too.
No, both. 100%.
That's what do you always tell me that you've never done? Never confide your feelings to a person of the opposite sex. Because now they know all your issues and they're going to prey on that. Yeah. And they're going to use that as leverage.
Yeah. Yes.
But I wouldn't treat you that way.
Yeah.
Oh, she does that?
If you're looking for a confidant...
Be careful with that, man.
Yeah, and you need to vent about your significant other to somebody.
Yes.
Make sure it's a safe place. And that safe place is 100% not someone of the opposite sex, unless it's a brother, unless it's like a relative.
Your sister, maybe.
Yeah, but even then, I wouldn't recommend.
And I'm going to go a step further. You have to be careful even confiding in your own friends, because you have frenemies. They might want your spouse. You never know. Both ways. You got to be careful. Make sure I could be complaining to a man, and he might want you.
I've had that rule. I have had that rule with myself for a long time. Not to confide in. To be honest, I'm really careful about confiding in anybody, for that matter. It's like I just deal with it on my own, because
you confide in your cousin, right?
Yeah. But people can be. That's probably the person I would. My cousin or my sister.
Yeah.
That's like my safe they're like the vault, like my safe zone. But nobody else really, because you vent about your significant other, and then sometimes someone, misery loves company.
Yes.
And they'll come and be like, oh, fuck that guy.
Yes.
Don't let him do that. Da, 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 da. Yep. And they'll plant things in your head or whatever. I remember this one time. We had gotten into it. We weren't married yet. And I confided in somebody who fired me up and got me even more upset with you. And I remember thinking to myself, that was a mistake. Like, I felt it. Like, that was a mistake. I will not do that again.
Wow.
And it just was eye-opening, because they didn't make it any better. They made it worse. And had I listened to them, we wouldn't be together.
Crazy, right?
So, you know.
People are very influential, and you gotta be careful. Yeah. Like we'll go back to misery. Misery loves company. And the reason that friend is all fired up, maybe that friend is single and wants you to be single. So you guys can have your girls night out single, or your boys night out single. Hey, let's go get turned, now you're single. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta be careful with that.
No, you're right.
It's all careful who sets you up.
Remember, I definitely had that in my first marriage. I had several people that they wanted what I had. They did. And they were...
You know that now.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Like, they just had this perception of what my marriage was like, and, you know, the life I had, and they kind of, like, wanted my life. I mean, I've always kind of experienced that. I've always kind of had that, and that's why I think I'm more guarded. Because I feel like that now. I'm sure there's people out there that want my life.
You get these chicks that are like single white female crazy. Yeah. They get obsessed.
It's like, I don't know if they want you or me.
Not me, you.
You know what I mean?
I'm ugly mofo.
No, but it's like, what do they want exactly? Like, I've had a lot of that experience in my life.
They copied your style, your hair. Won't name no names, but I've seen it. I've seen it from the shot, from the stepping into the sidelines. Like, wow.
I'm just like, I think that's probably why I'm a little guarded, because people either like, sometimes I get one, if I get close with someone, they almost like love me. It's like the thin line between love and hate.
Right.
It's like they love me, but they almost hate me at the same time.
It's weird.
It's very weird.
I've seen your experiences.
And it's been like that a handful of times with certain specific people.
I can't say it's happened to me as a man.
My walls are like guarded. Like, I have my people, and I've had the same people, like my confidants or whatever, for my whole life, basically.
Yeah.
You know?
It's pretty crazy. People do be wanting your life, though. I'm not saying you in general, but out there in the world, people want other people's lives.
Yeah, just in general.
Yes.
So you have to be careful sometimes.
Yeah, you do.
It's like you're inspired by someone, but it can,
Yeah, you just never know.
Yeah, you just never know. Never know.
And these rings, they're magnets. They're not wards. They don't ward people out.
Especially, I think women love a married man. I think they love, not this, they think they're going to like full-blown, oh, I'm going to make him break up with his wife, but they get off on if you're flirting with them and you have a ring, like, he's married and he's flirting with me.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And to be honest, if I'm going to explain to you guys how I am, because I'm not a jealous person. I'm not a jealous person. I don't get intimidated by other beautiful women. I enjoy beautiful people. I'm not like that. But one thing I am is, do not make a fool out of me. I have a lot of pride. So don't make a fool out of me. I don't mind, like, don't let a girl think that, like,
she has any chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
shut
then
that shit down
she
quick.
really is getting off on that because of me.
Yep.
Because she knows me. They're like, if she only knew. That's my thing. I'm not jealous of her or worried about somebody else.
Yeah.
I just don't, I'm a prideful person, so don't make me look stupid.
Yeah, for sure.
That's that's how I feel about things. But you can attest, I'm not a jealous person. You're not a jealous person at all. We're both very secure people.
That's why we work. That's why we don't fight or argue. Imagine how many couples, if one's confident, ultra confident, and one's ultra insecure, they're going to fight a lot. Yeah. That's just human nature.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way it goes. It could be like, let's say I'm insecure, you're the super confident one. It could be as far as, why are you wearing makeup today?
Yeah.
Why did you put your hair that way? Little stupid things.
Or like if you walk into
a
room together, an event, and the insecure one immediately looks for all the people that they think your significant other might like. Like, they walk in, oh my God, he's going to think she's pretty. Oh my God, he's going to think she's hot. And oh my God, look at her body, it's better than mine. And I feel bad for them.
I know.
Because, like, can you imagine the trauma and the turmoil in their brain when that's happening?
Yeah.
Like I've
had friends that didn't want
to.
Not them personally, but I won't put them on blast. Their girls didn't want to come out for dinner because they get intimidated by you.
Yeah.
Weird.
Like we literally had, and honestly, it like hurts my feelings. It actually hurts my feelings. I remember we had this one couple that they didn't want to go on the boat with us because his wife said not until she lost some more weight or whatever because she felt insecure. That made me feel so bad. Like it hurt my feelings. Like I felt bad. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you should have stopped doing you and being physically fit and super in shape.
But it
because
was
other people's feelings. But I know what you mean.
And then, like, even like to go out to dinner or whatever, like oh no, like my wife doesn't want to. Remember that?
Yeah. Weird, man.
I kid you not, guys. This is a true story. Multiple different couples too.
Yeah,
it's happened.
It's true. Unfortunately, yeah.
And that's not me.
Sad.
It's not because that doesn't come from me because oh my God, I'm so perfect. I'm this, I'm that. Because I am 100% not. It comes from within the other person. Their own insecurities. It has nothing to do with what I look like. It has everything to do with what they feel like.
So basically the definition of that is called social physique anxiety. When they step into a gym, these people, they think the whole gym stops and stares at them while they're working out. That is not happening, you guys. Yeah. The gym's not stopping and looking at you. Just go in there, do your thing.
They're worried about themselves. Like you own it.
Yes.
Everybody is concerned about themselves.
Yes.
They do not care what you look like.
No.
They are worried about checking themselves out in the mirror.
Yes.
The men and the women. Mm-hmm. The men even worse. They love to look at their pump and all
that. Oh my goodness. I see skinny ass dudes in the bathroom taking pictures. I want to say, yo buddy, go eat a steak and pack on some more muscle before you start taking selfies. It's just funny to me, but yeah.
But that's why they have the social physique anxiety. Because they're worried about someone's thinking that. All right, you guys, speaking of that and going into the gym or whatever, let's switch gears. This is a perfect opportunity because this episode is coming out, on Friday, the 30th, right? It's going to be the beginning of a new year.
Oh, my goodness. It's already coming.
So a lot of people are going to start their journeys. They're about to start their journeys because let's face it, a lot of people wait till the beginning of the year. Yes, that's okay. Now that we're here, let's not worry about the fact that they shouldn't have waited. They waited. So now, how do they start their journey? I actually got several text messages from people, like old clients and people that I've worked with that were like, hey, guess what? I'm ready to restart back with Body Boot Camp, or I'm going to pull out dust off my old macros. And I love that. I love that.
Never too late.
No.
Never
and
too
so
late.
It just made me think, because I had several text conversations with people that were ready to restart their journey. And so I gave them some tips. I just shot off some tips. Okay. So here are some tips on starting your journey. So that's what I wanted to talk about today.
All right, let's hear your tips.
All right, my tips. The first thing. Your why. Why are you doing this? Why are you starting your journey? You got to figure it out. You can't just start. You have to know why is it that you want to do this. Why now? Got to have a strong why.
Strong.
And create an album in your phone, create a vision board, create a note, whatever it is. Something that when your motivation starts to dwindle, that you can go back to that and look at it and remind yourself of the why. Yep. Because the little devil's going to pop up on your shoulder and tell you all the reasons why you don't really want this. And when that happens, you got to remind yourself of the why. So you got to have a quick way. And I'm serious, like an actual thing you can look at to remind you of your why. Mm-hmm. So that's number one. Number two is setting the goals. We talked about setting SMART goals. You gotta set SMART goals. You have to know where you're going. Don't just get in the car and drive. You have to know your destination that you're trying to work towards, or else you're going to spin your wheels.
What's SMART goals again?
So SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time sensitive.
Time sensitive.
So that is a SMART goal. Once you have those SMART goals, the SMART goals are like the big outcomes, the big things you want to achieve. I want to improve my mile time by a minute. I want to lose 50 pounds this year. Yes. I want to get into a size 6 jeans. I'm currently a size 10. Very specific, measurable, big goals. And once you have that, that's kind of ties in with your why, right?
Yes.
Why do you want to start your journey? Well, because I want to lose 50 pounds, because I want to get into size 10 jeans. I want to have my 50th birthday on a beach in a bikini, and I want to feel the best I've ever felt.
Yep.
Those things. And remember, very important that comes along with those goals is the feeling that's associated. I want you to stop and sit in that feeling of pretending you've already achieved it.
You have to.
Right?
That's what successful people do.
You told me you did that.
Yes. I used to vision it. I wanted my body to look and everything when I was super overweight.
You sit in there and you think, oh my gosh, this is what I want my body to look like. This is what it's going to feel like when I'm there. You literally get excited as if you already achieved it.
Yeah.
If you feel that, then it's good goal. So that's very, very important. So once you've done that work, then you've got to break it all the way down. And I don't want you to worry about every single month right away. You need to worry about 1 month at a time. So you've got your big outcome goals. You know your why. Now I want you to stop and think, what am I going to do in January that's going to help me take little baby steps towards those big outcome goals? What am I going to do? What do I need to do? What behaviors do I need to have? What actions do I need to take?
Yes.
Those are your January goals. Then you break it even further down. What are you going to do the first week of January that's going to help you? You're going to sign up for Orange Theory. You're going to, schedule. I'm going to get 3 workouts done. I'm going to schedule 3 workouts. I'm going to meal prep on Sunday. New Year's Day, I'm going to meal prep so that my meals are ready to go. Very, very important. Obviously, the most important thing if your goals are related to weight loss is you got to nail down your macros. You got to know what macros you should be eating. You can't just start working out and start eating healthy. It's not enough.
No.
If you really want to make some actual progress, you gotta know your macros.
This is where people fail. They start something and they're lost and they try to wing it. I'm just gonna eat healthier and have no idea what they're putting in their body. You know what I mean? Like how much I should be putting in.
Yep.
Break it down. You gotta learn this stuff, you guys. You can't wing it.
And then what happens? You don't get progress, and so you lose your motivation.
Quick.
And then
fast.
the goals. That's
Done.
what happens to New Year's resolutions
All the
because you
time.
don't have a strategic plan. Yes, you need macros. You need a coach. Find a program. I have Jay's Body Boot Camp for more in-depth coaching and lots of support. Or if you just need a macro assessment, I do that too. Exactly. I do a one-time macro assessment, but you got to have your macros.
You do.
Set a step goal. You need to move.
Move.
You need to move. We're too sedentary.
Way too sedentary.
You gotta set a step goal. The NEAT calories are very important. And in the winter, people tend to move less.
Yes, they do.
And then they wonder, I don't understand. I'm eating around the same. Why am I gaining weight? Because you're moving a lot less. Take a look at your step goal.
Yes.
You should be tracking your steps so that you know how much your activity is. If you look at last month and go, wow, I only averaged 5,000 steps a day last month. Normally in the summer, I averaged 12,000 steps. And now you're wondering why you gained a little weight?
Yep.
You may have felt like you kept things on track, but it's the things you're not realizing.
Yes.
So set a step goal. Another tip I gave to someone I was talking to yesterday is meal prep your breakfast and lunch. Eat the same thing all week long and have it ready to go. That's 2 meals right off the top.
Yeah.
And have them be very high protein. Get the bulk of your protein out of the way in the first half of the day. The reason for that is it's going to give you a little more flexibility for dinner. So if you want to eat the same thing as your family, eat the same thing. You don't have to eat different than your family. Just adjust your portions based on however many calories you have left after breakfast and lunch. And then if you got your protein out of the way early and you have some calories left, you can have whatever you want as your treat.
Yeah.
So those are kind of some things some tips I give people to how to get started is, those are some of my tips.
Yeah. And once you get started and you learn this formula, it's the best. Because you take it with you forever. You can always jump back on macros. You learn it.
Exactly.
It ain't just you're giving them a homework assignment. You have to learn this. You have to practice it. You have to get good at this.
Yeah.
You learn your body. Is it working? How do you feel? Pay attention to all that.
Yeah, I was actually having a coaching call with a client yesterday, and I thought it was amazing. She didn't feel like necessarily she had a ton of progress because she got sick and it was obviously the holidays, but she continued to track anyway.
Wow.
She tracked her macros. Even though she wasn't hitting her macros, she was going over on her calories. should continue to track. And I thought, you know what? That is so good. I don't think you realize that's amazing progress by tracking, even though you know you're going over. Because the minute someone feels like they're going off track, they like to put the blinders on and they throw away the app because they don't want to know. But it's very eye-opening if you track even when you are off track.
Yeah.
Because then you start to learn how much you're actually eating.
Yeah.
Most people are eating significantly more than they think they're eating.
Yes. A lot more.
So much more. Like thousands of calories more. And it becomes very eye-opening as to why you're not progressing. Because if you track that weekend that you just go off track, I encourage you to track it anyway. See how much you ate. You probably ate 7,000 calories on Saturday and Sunday combined.
True. Easy.
At least.
Easy.
Very easily happens. You go out to dinner, one like dinner at a restaurant, 2,000 calories like that. Bread, your dinner, average dinner plate at a restaurant, 1,500 calories or more.
In the USA.
And dessert, you could be 2,500 calories in just with dinner, and you've already ate.
That's not including drinks that have calories, and then your dessert afterwards.
Yeah, and you've already ate breakfast and lunch. So that means you probably ate 5,000 calories that day.
You don't realize it just like that. And going back to that, with that right there, I'm going to reiterate on that. What I always say, like, dang. And men too, but the average weight of women, the size of women have gotten like twice the size now.
Why is that? Because I'm sitting across from you at the dinner table and we both order an entree, we both have bread, we both have some drinks, we both have dessert. Well, that's fine and dandy. 5,000 calories for you is a lot different than 5,000 calories for me.
Yes.
That's
on a smaller frame.
That's what happens.
On a smaller vessel.
That's what happens. Women, we have such a disadvantage when it comes to that. Because yes, you can build an appetite just like a man.
Yes.
But we have a smaller vessel, so we're not going to burn as many calories.
Nope.
We don't have as much muscle.
You don't.
Skeletal muscle.
You don't.
And then you add in the fact that we're the ones who get pregnant. We're the ones who have to have the babies. Like, it's a lot harder for us to maintain a healthy weight than men. Especially if we're side by side with a man who can eat double. I remember it was like an epiphany for me. I would eat calorie for calorie with you on cheat days. And I'm thinking like, you know what? I should always eat half of what you eat. If you have a burrito, I should eat half the burrito. If you have 5 donuts, I should eat 2.5 donuts. And when I started to think about it differently like that, my cheat days became more scaled back.
Well, you always say your dad always says, how does he lose weight? You're 82-year-old father.
He would say, just cut it in half. Just eat half. And he would always do this with his hand. Just eat half.
And he doesn't have knowledge of macros or breakdown. But what works is, he knows for a fact, if I eat half, guess what? That's half the calories. My body's going to lose weight.
Yeah. It's as simple as that. It can be as simple as that, you guys. It really can be.
It can.
But why do people not do it? And people have and the other thing that kind of drives me crazy.
Because Americans, babe, we're taught to eat everything on our plate, and they come with these big ass portions. You go to Europe, the portions are way smaller.
Well, the other thing that drives me crazy, there's this trend on social media, especially with health coaches and stuff like that. You need so many calories. You need to fuel your body. That's not enough calories. It irritates me so much when someone.
These are fitness professionals.
Yeah, if I post what I eat in a day, and someone will comment that's not enough calories.
It's not?
How do they know?
Yeah, how do they know?
You know nothing about me.
Nothing.
You don't know what activity I do.
Yep.
You don't know my weight, my height, my age. That is such an uneducated, uninformed comment.
Not only that, babe, they don't know how you feel. They're not you. So people don't realize that. You can't just assume a person feels a certain way because you think that. No.
But people also have this mentality that you should eat a lot more than you really should. Now remember, I like to think of the body as like a clothing machine, a washing machine. If you have a really good quality washing machine and it works great, but if you overstuff it, is the clothing going to wash well?
No. We know that.
It
needs room to move in there.
If you have days where you overstuff and you shove tons of calories in this machine, your body's going to break down. The components, the mechanisms, the things that are they're not going to work properly.
No.
You do that repeatedly over time, you are literally going to break down your body.
You put too much oil in an engine, you blow it. It'll start leaking through all the crevices. There's a reason why the gas pump stops when it fills up, so it doesn't spill outside of your car. And we should have that for humans.
Americans, the obesity epidemic for Americans has to do with too much.
Too much.
It's just overconsumption.
Too much.
You're just eating too much, and you're used to eating too much. Therefore, it's very difficult to eat less because your body's used to it. You get hungry. It's hard.
You trained your body over so many years. It is. You're
gonna have to go through. I had a client say like, "Hey, what do I do for cravings? I have a lot of cravings when I'm in a deficit, and then when it's that time of the month, and yes, I gave some tips for what you can do for cravings. However, at the end of the day, you also have to learn to suffer a little bit. If you're trying to lose body fat, you're gonna feel hungry sometimes.
Yes, you guys. That's part of losing weight is the journey. You gotta embrace that. That's part of it. Sorry, there's no way around that. I love it.
You once gave me, and I think you heard it from Adam, but when you feel like that hunger, it's like, think about it like it's body fat that's burning.
I look at it like a video game, like Pac-Man is in my body with the little balls, eating bits of fat away.
Yeah.
Little
so if
microscopic fat.
If you feel that hunger, learn to love the hunger a little bit, because it means that your body's uncomfortable.
Yes.
If your body's uncomfortable, that means it's having to dip into stored body fat.
Yep.
That's what you want.
Yes.
You want to dip into stored body fat, and that does feel uncomfortable.
It does. It does. But that's part of the journey of losing weight.
Yeah.
You have to go through that. There's no way around it. It's like grief. You have to go through it. I'm sorry. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Start learning how to go through things and not try to get around things all the time.
No.
Don't look for shortcuts.
Nope.
Go through it. You'll get better. If you go through it, you'll learn the tools and you'll get better at managing things.
The first day, be your hardest. Second day, less hard. Third day. Before you know it, you're a week, 2-3 inches. You're 4 weeks into this. Yeah. You're like a machine. Doesn't bother you no more. Like, it's just in my body. It's hungry. Yeah, it's burning fat.
Speaking of that, and next week everyone's gonna be grumpy. Next week is gonna be a grumpy week for everybody because everyone's starting their journey. They're starting their calorie deficit. You get grumpy at first.
You do.
When you first start, because it's not fun, especially if you're coming off of indulging. And a lot of people, another thing they'll do is they'll super indulge the day before they're going to start a program.
Yes.
They'll go crazy. I don't recommend that.
Yeah, to the point where they want to throw up and feel sick.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I've had that mentality. Like, oh, I'm going to just go balls to the wall because I know tomorrow I'm going to get super strict. Mm-hmm. That's been years, but that's a common mindset. But let me just tell you this, you're not setting yourself up for making it any easier. It's hard when you do that.
Yeah.
It's hard because the cravings are really going to be out of control.
And you have to formulate a plan for success in this. You can't just wing it. I think people think, I'm just going to do this. You hear the same generic ass answer, and it's old. Like, stop with that. Like, I'm almost 48. I've been here since a kid. You better have a formulated plan.
I gave you guys lots of good tips in this episode, so hopefully it's helpful.
Spend some money on yourselves. Don't be scared to invest in yourselves, you guys.
And I have to say this before I leave. I'm going to give you, guys, a little reminder. If you haven't already, make sure you go over to Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate it. We didn't do the show. We didn't do Love for the Ages. We're not going to have the exposure, the podcast tour, etc. Yes. So we are relying on you guys to help us out with a rating. Also, share our podcast.
Please.
Share an episode. If you feel like it's going to resonate with somebody, share it, or share a link to it in your Instagram. Help us out. We would really appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you on the next one.
See ya.